make sure that we're live.
All right, sounds good, man.
Okay. We will take this seriously, though. That was just a fun little
Yes.
intro, but we will take this seriously. Actually, speaking of which, I forgot. There we go. Okay. You know what? No, we'll take it off. We'll take it off. We'll take it off. All right. So we do want to talk about what's happened in Illuvium in 2023 so far and where we think it's going in the future and kind of like that entire landscape. Now, I know there's a lot there to unpack and you guys have a lot of questions. We'll be answering your questions as quickly as we can. But first, we're going to go through all this sort of stuff that I've had kind of prepared first, and I want to talk about it, speculate on a little bit. Obviously, I can't do a whole lot of speculation myself, but I'm happy for Ricky Tanner to take a stab in the dark at potential release dates and things like that. That'd be pretty funny. It's been interesting because when me and TSG talk about stuff, we're not really allowed to discuss release dates all too much because people might read into it a bit too extra and things like that. But having someone like Ricky on the channel for Augment will be really interesting because he can speculate on your behalf, and I can talk to him about what I think about that and things like that. So it's a bit more disconnected, and I think it's a bit more interesting. Obviously, I would give you guys every bit of information I know if I could. That being said, I don't actually know that much more than you. I know you might be surprised by that. TSG knows a lot more than I do, and even then, I don't think he knows that much more than you guys. Okay, so just keeping that in mind. But we will talk about kind of where we think things are heading and things like that. It's actually really funny. People are talking about this sort of information. I've got like 6 videos scheduled that covers like half of this stuff. So know that I've already got stuff kind of coming out that have already answered a lot of the questions you guys are asking. So it's good to know I'm on the right track. But yeah, so how are you going today, Ricky? How's everything?
Pretty good, man. Wasn't expecting to hop on, but hey, totally on board for jumping on this, filling in the big boy TSG shoes if I can. And I'm totally down to speculate.
I will mention that some people are talking about token unlocks and stuff. I just want you guys to know that token unlocks, there are a significant amount of tokens unlocking from the staking protocol and things like that, and that's occurring today. What's going to happen from that is anyone's guess, and there's a lot of speculation on Twitter with other people and things like that. I just wanted you guys to be aware that people are considering that at the moment. And that's really all I wanted to say on that topic. Did you have anything you wanted to talk to the community about in regards to token unlocks, Ricky, without telling people what price it's going to be in 5 days?
Well, pretty much what a lot of people are speculating right now, really, it's already priced in. So I think it might be going down. I'm holding off a bit. I do want to load up on some. So I'm planning to pick some up if certain people allow me to in my little family DAO. I see them in the chat, but I definitely want to pick up more. But it could still go down, but I'm hoping we all want it higher.
It is what it is. I think we're still building. I'm not overly fussed with token price for the most part. Obviously, as a council member, I want the DAO to be in the best position it possibly can be. And for that reason, I do want the token price to increase because then obviously our treasury is more full in a fiat sense, in a USD sense, right? So that's always what I am looking for. But honestly, until a game is out, it doesn't overly concern me. Until a game is out, it's not based on anything rather than speculation and hype, right? Which isn't really our job. Our job is to get the game out and then make the game as good as it possibly can be.
Yeah.
So,
do you have any unlocks coming up now?
I might have a really tiny one. No,
okay.
I think I might have a few, but if you had to look at my whole bag that's staked or whatever, it's probably like 10% would be unlocking or something like that. I think I made a much larger stake, like several months after or something like that. I can't remember.
Because a year ago was pretty much when I got in. And at that time, the price was so much higher for ILV. And that's when I purchased it. So for me and for a lot to sell now, you really need the liquidity because you're taking a huge loss. I mean, obviously you earned throughout the year, but I don't think there's going to be as big of a sell-off personally. But I may be wrong, and I'll say I was.
Yeah, David. Kieran was talking about the whole VC stuff in the town hall the other day. I can't really talk on that myself, unfortunately. But it's interesting to see the thoughts and opinions of the community. And we're definitely not going to like blindside anyone or anything like that. If something like that were to happen, we're not going to just do it behind everyone's back. We're always considering the community and what's best for the DAO as well, of course. Okay, so we'll move on to the first topic on my agenda, which is Illuvium Zero Season 1. Everyone's trying to speculate on when it's coming out and things like that. I'm going to go off information I've had in the past. I said this a while back because they made it very clear. I think Johnny and stuff were messaging in the Illuvium Zero chat. Like we're talking like over a month ago before that update with the marketplace came out. And their talking points were always, we're trying to get the marketplace out. And obviously it was a lot more delayed than what they were expecting. I think they were expecting to get it out early March, if that's right, Ricky. Stop me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
They were trying to get it out early March. And what they were saying was after we get it out, maybe 2 to 3 weeks later, then season 1 will begin, okay? The only thing I will tell you internally is there's a very strong sentiment to not delaying it if we don't have to, all right? Basically, when it's ready to go, it's ready to go. We're most likely going to drop it, okay? Just so you guys know, we're not planning on like, okay, let's wait 3 months so we can market it or anything like that. No, we know the community wants it. That's very much we're across that, don't you worry. It's in our best interest and it's in your best interest, and we're pushing to have it out as soon as it makes sense. But that will be up to Johnny and things. But if we go off those comments, I'm looking at early April to have potentially season 1 start. But we don't have any dates or anything. What do you think, Ricky?
I definitely think it's coming out within a week. That's my honest opinion. When it was it was supposed to come out sooner, and with the Illuvitars coming out, it's already been almost a month that Illuvitars have been out. It's been several weeks. So I think that they wanted to ride that high. Now we're getting into the next stage, which is why I think that Zero's coming. I want my blueprints, but I'm also nervous that they're going to be difficult to get. So I want to get in sooner than later, have more time. I want to get 15 for each of my plots. I don't think that's going to be possible, but I'm still I'm missing the 5th alluvial now. So I'm missing 3 out of my 15 blueprints from the preseason.
Well, on that note, they had again, this is another thing I've made a video about already. Was it Lauren Alusin or I can't remember who it was, sent a message, and it's pinned in the Illuvium Zero chat in the Illuvium Discord at the moment, where he outlined a few of the major things they're doing for season 1 and or updates and things like that. And one of them that was really interesting in there was after a certain amount of attempts at scanning for a blueprint, you will have a 100% success rate. I'm not saying your success rate goes up over time, but it's like if you fail 100 times in a row, now you're guaranteed to get one on the next one, which will make a huge difference for all the people that have been struggling to get them. I don't know why other people have struggled more than me. I only did it on one plot, but I got the first one. It took me like a week to get the second one. But after that second one, I got 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th all in like a day. And then I got all the blueprints in the next day. I had like 8 or 9 materials labs, and I just got them all in like 2 days pretty much. So
that's what I did.
I don't understand how much, why people are having trouble. Maybe I was just super lucky. I have no idea. But it looks like maybe I was super lucky, and they're trying to remedy that to make it less frustrating.
I wonder though, because if you fail 100 times and then you're guaranteed it, couldn't you just load up your land with all the scanners, even though the percentage will be so low, fail on all of them just to get that guaranteed at the end?
That's an interesting point. Now, I remember Johnny telling me the efficiency doesn't matter. And it never did. Now, I could be wrong. Something tells me I'm wrong, but it was my understanding the efficiency doesn't matter. They had a working plan. I'm not going to reveal it to you guys because it was behind the scenes. I don't think I'm supposed to tell you. But he had a different plan for the efficiency on scanners, that it would do something different. I think it was more related to a level 2 scanner, a level 3 scanner, and something to do with different stage alluvials and things like that. So in the current beta, I don't think the efficiency on the scanners actually makes a difference. So that's why I just stacked them. I had them all at 25% efficiency, and that's how I got it. Maybe that's another video that needs to be made. I'll confirm the information before I make that video, but it's worth considering that, guys. If you guys thought you needed 100% efficiency, that is not the case.
Damn. I kept 3 in the bottom corner. They were all 75 to 100. I bought a couple more, then I deleted them all.
Because the reason I came to that conclusion before even speaking to Johnny was efficiency is largely derived by, what is it? How much production value you get out of it. And that would make you think that, yes, now you have a lower chance of getting a blueprint, so maybe that thing. But in my head, it was actually the other way around. It was like, if efficiency was really affecting it, it would take you longer to scan for a blueprint, because that would be why you would be less efficient. But you never know. But I'll definitely confirm that. That was how I thought it worked. Thoughts on how many labs are necessary, David? That's actually a really good question. There have been some people throw around theories, and I'm in that camp at the moment as well. Focus on scanners first. Get the 5 biodatas, then delete them, then get material labs. You're not really saving a whole lot of time doing both concurrently, especially since the material labs, I would argue, have a much higher hit rate than the scanners do. So focusing on the scanners in general is probably an easier hit. But you never know. I could be wrong.
At least have one running, just because it is the time limit that you're going to need. So we're up against time here, so you may want to. I'm more curious when that claim window is going to be and when the reset is, because that's going to determine how quickly I need to move, especially on the tier 1 lands, because they are slow.
Yeah. So I've actually got a T1 land plot priorities guide, like a mini priorities guide. I'll probably make a more in-depth one that's coming out on the channel soon too. I don't mean to be shilling the stuff. I was actually really proud of that one in particular, and I think you guys will find it interesting because I had only just started playing my T1. I'm like, this sucks. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to find a strategy to make it work for me. And I found something of like a particular thing that you've got a gun for, or you're going to waste so much time. As for the minting window and things, it's slated for, what was it, like 6 weeks before open beta comes out. The problem being we don't know when open beta is going to launch, but you're only going to be able to mint right before open beta. So the time limit wise, if you think open beta is in December, you've got a lot of time. If you think open beta is in June, like some might think, I have no idea, then you might not have that much time, so you would consider that. But I think everyone will have plenty of time. I'm not overly fussed. I don't think there's going to be any stress. But yeah, I mean, that being said, if open beta is like announced like a month before it comes out and you've barely gotten started, then you might be in a lot of trouble. So that's kind of part of that, I suppose.
Yeah.
Are the blueprints always ours, or we need to mint them? You need to mint them. So right before open beta comes out, you will have a window to mint your blueprints. Once you mint them, they will become NFTs. And then land will be reset, and you'll lose all that stuff on the land. I think those NFTs are exclusive, so they won't be obtainable again through scanning after that reset. But yeah, you will need to mint them. In Illuvium Zero, even when Season 1 starts, they are not NFTs yet. So you can't just be like getting them all, assuming they go into your wallet and selling your land or something like that. You can't really do that, unfortunately. All right, so the next thing we should talk about is Illuvium Beyond and leaderboards. Kieran has been hinting at leaderboards heaps. He keeps saying, like, I'm going to release it tonight, I'm going to release it tomorrow. I have no idea when it's going to come out, okay? I had the same information as you, maybe like 2 hours before you guys did. And I've still got no idea. But I know that he's really excited for it, and it's coming soon. Maybe they ran into a slight snag or something. I think there was a reason. He was pretty confident it was going to come out. So yeah, it's worth considering that. So what is your plan going to the leaderboards and things? Or do you have any speculations on what leaderboards might entail for Illuvatars in a general sense, economic sense, whatever?
I was pretty upset during the town hall when Kieran posted, oh, maybe it could release tonight. Yeah, he's late right now, so I'm a bit disappointed, Kieran, if he's watching or someone clips this. But, I mean, I still haven't done a bulk purchase of standard discs. I keep holding back because when it came to Pokemon cards and Pokemon opening, I'd get booster packs, like booster boxes of 36. I'll open one a day. Yeah, within an hour, they're all opened. And then I want to buy more. and I didn't get the pull I want, so maybe I'll try another box and another box. And that's where the leaderboard's going to come into play, especially with bragging rights. And no offense, but if I'm behind a certain few people just by a couple points, I'm going to push to pass them just to rub it in their face. That's just me. It's the gamification of it, really is. And especially if prizes are announced, if they do somehow break it out per season with the discs. So like not wave, wave 1, wave 2, so that anyone new coming in has a chance to still be on the top of a wave 2 leaderboard, but then also an all-time. And then there's an incentive where you can potentially win something or top 100 get something. I think it'd be interesting.
That's a really good idea, actually. I really like that. Yeah, the big thing for me is representation. Currently, the plan for leaderboards that we know of is you can see the top 100, that's definitely confirmed. Top 1,000 is up in the air. I would like to see a top 1,000 myself, but you need to break it down as much as you can. Now, top 1,000 makes sense when we're only like 5K holders, and I'm hoping... Thanks, Ricky. I'm hoping it gets bumped up, right? I'm hoping... Not bumped up. There's only about 4,000 or 5,000 holders. I'm hoping leaderboards brings in even more people, 10,000 holders, let's say. But then 1,000 doesn't feel like as much. What if you got 100,000 points, but you're not even the top 1,000, so you can't even see your rank? I would like all of that UI and UX, all that experience to be as effective as possible. I want you to be able to see where you're placed in the world, who you're placed nearby, and maybe just a list of people in each rank. Like, this is the people in bronze, this is the people in silver, where you are amongst them. I would like to see a full leaderboard of everyone, if that's possible. That would be really, really awesome. Without that, I feel striving for stuff is a bit tricky. Like the thing you would have in reality is, say I have 100,000 points, and I'm like, okay, I can see 100th place. To get on the leaderboard, I would need 1,000,000 points. Fuck that. Alternatively, what I'm proposing is you can see who's in the next brackets and things. You'd be like, oh, I can move up like 100 positions by getting just a couple more points, or I can get to this next bracket. I can be in platinum with all these people with these amount of points, or midway up platinum and things like that. I think that'd be a bit more interesting. But I don't know how others feel about that, to be honest.
I think not knowing what place I'm in is going to suck. I know you'll be able to see kind of, there might be a way to see who's in your rank, because once you're in the rank, gold, platinum, diamond, you get that border, especially being the top of the top. You're going to show off that border for sure compared to people who can't get that high. I mean, RNG has something to do with it, but you still need a bag to be able to buy a lot. So, yeah, I don't know. I hope they make it more, and maybe that's what the delay is. Maybe originally they had 100, 200. Maybe it's more back end that they need to be able to make it go higher and see more. Right now, I think there's 5,000 holders, or maybe I know you can see it online. I can't remember how many.
It's close to that. It's on a Mutascan somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just extending on Illuvatars, we should have a brief moment about partner discs. For those of you that don't know, there's going to be something called partner discs at the end of the wave. When that is and stuff, I'm not 100% certain. I believe it'll be before the wave ends, though. I don't know how long before, but say 1 or 2 weeks before it'll launch, and then maybe only last those 1 or 2 weeks. I'm not sure on the full details, for full transparency, guys. But it will be at the end of the wave. Do you think they're going to sell really, really well? I mean, obviously it depends on the partner, but they're going to be promotional discs. Do you think? How well do you think they're going to do?
I mean, it's going to depend on the partner that they choose, but also it's still not so clear what they're going to be. Is it going to be like limited accessories from that partner? Hypothetically, Supreme, would it be like Supreme hats, bracelets, or will they get to choose a specific Illuvatar and it's already has like a custom background or special backgrounds? So there's not much info on it. It's all speculation, but I'm definitely going to try picking up some, especially if they're limited. and having them limited versus unlimited might create a bit more hype for them. Everybody wants something if there's a limited supply, but the partner may want to get it out to as many people as possible. So
Yeah, I always expected it to be mostly accessories. I have no idea. It's interesting you put it that way. I don't even know if it will be 5 things opened in a disc and stuff. Like, and I'll say my explaining for that in a sec. But kind of like what I am expecting is a couple of accessories. So like you can kit it out in full Supreme gear, like you said, like a hat, a necklace, a armband. I don't know. I don't know that brand. I don't know brands very much in general. But the other thought I had, and I don't know the details on this, but you're right. It's going to be kind of weird if Illuvatars are in there, because without like maybe background was a really good idea. Without that sort of thing, I can't understand how they can brand it as that partner. But what was more in my head is they've already announced these emote discs, which are going to come out with the open beta or whatever. These emote discs, I believe, have one emote inside it. So you open a disc and you get one of these emotes. So that makes me think the disc is a lot more broad than what it's currently structured to be. So by extension, then maybe it's just a disc with a single item and everyone gets that same item maybe, or maybe it has 3 stages of that item. So there's some rarity, but I don't know exactly what it's going to look like. And it will look like, in the case of maybe like McDonald's, it would look kind of silly if every single person put a McDonald's hat on their Illuvatar. So I'm hoping it's a little bit more broad than that. Or maybe it'll just have a really special Illuvatar. It'll have a new Illuvatar that comes with a McDonald's t-shirt or something, which isn't a typical accessory. And that's just separate. Like maybe it's an Apon and it has like a McDonald's t-shirt, or it looks like it's a McDonald's worker, but you can still attach all the other accessories outside. It's just the artwork is purely unique. I think that would hold a lot of value. I think that'd be interesting.
That's pretty sick. Yeah. Well, Jordan made a point here about the leaderboard. Just jumping back, he said, "Would you be able to use your points? So the points you earn, could you spend those?" I don't think they'd ever do that, but that's kind of interesting.
There was consideration for. I think at some point they were considering some sort of systems like that, where you couldn't necessarily spend it to buy stuff. But
yeah,
if you had a certain rank, you got a certain discount off the merch store and things like that. Or you can spend points to get a discount off the merch store. I don't know if they would go down that path. It's interesting.
You can unsleeve your Illuvatars, so that means your points could go up and down. So you could acquire them, get the discount, sell all the Illuvatars after you got it, or send them to another wallet, get the discount. So I don't think you could. But with the partner discs, just because I know you love Pokemon, think of it this way: all the different kinds of Pokeballs. Discs are just the capsules that you open. What's in them, what comes out is different. But think of all the different brands and different ways that the discs could look. Like McDonald's just having the M go around the top. Other colors like a red disc, right? Red and yellow for McDonald's colors. Supreme even. Just I go to Supreme just because they're everywhere for everything. So I don't know if it's that, but they're big brands. So there's going to be a following and people are going to want them. So,
it's cool. I'm loving some of these ideas. Well, it's good, Paul, man. Nice to have you here. Thanks for the donation again, Heron. It was really, really appreciated. Yeah, that's crazy. There's so much, there's so much possibility. Yeah. I don't know what they're gonna look like.
Delicious. I just read her comment. McDonald's is delicious. I need McDonald's. I like just talking about McDonald's makes me want McDonald's.
No, I only do KFC nowadays, but our KFC in Australia is very different to in America. I will mention that. Our menu looks quite different, so keep that in mind.
I'm gonna look it up after.
Okay. So there was a really good question about prices and things for discs. Oh, right. We should revisit. This is the last thing we should revisit for Illuvatars before we take in questions a bit more heavily. But someone mentioned pricing for alpha discs and standard discs, what that might look like in the future and things like that. I think Kieran said it publicly that he understands that the alpha disc didn't perform how he expected them to. And it's definitely in our best interest to reevaluate. And honestly, that was always the plan. I expected, I had a hunch they wouldn't sell out. At the same time, I was basing all of my thought processes on the mega discs. Okay. I wasn't even sure if they would quite sell out, but I was hoping they would. Them selling out makes me feel accomplished in the alpha sale. I think in theory, people could have spent kind of on one or the other, and they were valued at the same price in total. So it made a lot of sense that the mega disc sold out. That was interesting to me. I thought that made a lot of sense. And so I think it was mostly successful, but there's definitely going to be a lot of revisiting the prices and things like that. 5x, I wasn't sure if that felt like too much. I think we're going to see the true value of this stuff start to shift in 6 or 7 months. The alpha Illuviums are obviously very, very scarce, especially the really rare ones. At the same time, talking personally, I couldn't give a shit about alphas. I never really did. I mean, I have some alpha unopened mega discs just because, but the stamp on the Illuvium doesn't really mean anything to me. That being said, if they make them look considerably different, like a lot of people are going for in that IIP and stuff, I might feel a bit differently because it might give me that same feeling that the holos give me. You know, when you're filling out your sleeves and now you can fill a holo one instead of a regular one in this sleeve, and now you're trying to get the full holo collection. Without alpha Illuviums having a distinct difference, you can't get that feeling. You can't get that dopamine hit in particular. So if they did shift the direction of the alphas to be considerably different, which was never the initial plan, so I have no idea if we should or shouldn't do that at the moment. I'm looking to the community to see what they think. But if we did shift it that way, then I think I would feel very differently about alphas, and the 5x price might even make more sense. But until then, I think the community has a lot of standing in saying that maybe it didn't quite work out at that price point in particular, at least.
Since they can update the artwork potentially, it would go back, I guess, to affect season 1 as well. Well, wave 1. But one thing they definitely need to update is if there are alpha discs, when you're opening them, the alpha symbol needs to be at the center of the disc or clearly visible, so you're not opening them thinking they're a standard one. But I mean, I think the price point was ridiculous. I'm glad they brought it down and they brought the standard ones down because now it's like a pack of cards. I mean, slightly elevated, but you can still go out and buy them and buy a bunch of them. And I've been curious how Wave 2 is going to be for alphas. Will it be, instead of increased prices, maybe it'll be a limited 3 days, everything that's bought there, a limited supply at the same price, so you have to be there to get it. That's how maybe it should be, but I'm sure the community is going to...
Instead of 3 months.
Well, still have the 3 months, but the first 3 days have the same limit of alphas, but no price escalation. So it's the same price, but first 20,000 discs purchase gets those alphas, and then the first 100,000 standards get alphas. Then it just goes into regular ones. So it'll be maybe the rest of the sales will be slower, but at least there'll be this huge purchase power at the beginning. But
it'd certainly be pretty exciting time. I still think a price disparity makes sense. I still think a 3x is probably a good shout, but we could be wrong again and change it again. I definitely think we need to try and be 100 as right as we possibly can be on this next one. We knew that it was going to be like, I don't know, shit's going to happen. We don't know how the community is going to feel about it, how people are going to feel about it in general. I still think 3x is possible, but 2x at a minimum, I would have said. So let's look at the super chats here. So poor man says with 5 USD, so thanks for that. Hey Scorix, when is Illuvium's full launch time? I know Kieran was talking about timelines. I'm with him. Give me a time. I can't take it. I don't get it. Give me a time.
Does he mean like he can't take it? Like,
yeah,
he'd rather not know, or I can take it whatever it is? I don't know. Oh, like I can't take it, like impatient?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Maybe.
I think you're right. So obviously I can't get your launch date. I don't even know one. There's been a lot of people saying a lot of different things. Now, I remember Kieran said summer or something ages ago. Keep in mind, summer is December, January, February for Australia. Everyone forgot that at the time, which I thought was really funny. I think
hope not.
I think 2023 feels likely for me. But it also feels irrelevant. What I'm more interested in is I don't think anyone's going to be asking when anymore when people are playing the PvP beta against each other. I don't think they're going to give a shit about the open beta launch date. They're going to be so busy playing that and having fun. It should have pretty much all the Illuvials in there too. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's a big deal. When that comes out is another question in itself. But I think open beta before the end of the year. If I had to guess, you're killing me. I don't know, maybe like October or like Q4. I reckon Q4, but I'm happy to be wrong. But again, I don't think it's going to matter. I think PvP is going to feel like open beta for a lot of people. It's not going to have the blockchain. It's not going to have NFTs, but it's going to feel real. It's going to make the game feel real to a lot of people, which I think is most important. Because by that time, we should be running around in Brightland and Abyssal as well. Again,
which one are you more excited? If you had to choose one, which one are you more excited for, Brightland or Abyssal?
That's a good question. Abyssal during the day, I like bright colors. I like bright environments. That being said, I think Abyssal at night's really, really cool. So I have to split it to 3. I think Abyssal at night, Brightland, Abyssal during the day.
Indecisive. I like it.
What do you think? What are you going for?
I think Abyssal's a little too dark and gloomy to spend too much time in it. I'm going to enjoy it, but I think Brightland with the gliding in the air, kind of like paragliding around, and the slide features down the hills, I'm going to be racing people all around there. Like the new Fortnite where you can create like races and stuff. The like circles to go through. If there's a way to eventually set up a race of some kind in Illuvium, especially Brightland, I think that'd be huge.
I was thinking, and it's just a thought in my head. I haven't tested if I should yet. I was thinking of trying to recreate Brightland in the Fortnite thing, and then stream that entire like a 10-hour session or something. And me just trying to create the landscape. The other thing I could do is I could create the obelisk. I could 3D model it and bring it in and drop it in. I think it'd be make for a really funny, interesting video. And then, I mean, we could drop in characters and things. And because I just learned today that Ready Player Me, you can export the file. So I might even be able to drop in like we could all drop in our own avatars that we've made. And we could literally race around in Brightland Steps in our own little game mode thing, which could be really interesting. I don't know. It's just thoughts in my head. If you guys have any ideas like that, let me know. So we'll go to this next question. Thanks for the donation, Silent Stage. Does the team plan on adding any functionality for Illuvitas? Would love to see some mini games added to the hub where you can play cards with people. If you watch my Aaron AMA, we talk quite a bit about the potential Illuvitas card game. It is all but confirmed at the moment. Obviously, there needs to be an IIP still. But Aaron's already done the back end for not back end. He's already done the ideation for like an Illuvitas card game. He's all over this shit. But it is very clear, and this has been discussed amongst the town halls and things like that quite a lot recently. There's no more scope creep. We're considering that sort of stuff, and it's probably going to happen, but we're doing the game first. Okay, we're doing the game, focusing on that and getting that to open beta, and then we can have that conversation. But yeah, no, it's definitely going to happen at some point. As far as timelines, hopefully next year. I only say that because I'm hoping it wouldn't be difficult. I mean, we already have the cards. You make the rules. You got a lot of other awesome assets to play with. Maybe it's easy to do. Hard to say. The rules are the hardest part, but Aaron's pretty good at that sort of stuff, so I don't think it'd be too difficult. And yeah. Did you have any thoughts on that, Ricky?
I'm just excited for it to come out. I want to dive into a new card game, and joining one late, it's much more difficult because everybody has all these better cards. Whereas this one, I think Illuvitar's could be something unique. I'm curious because I know it's in Beyond, So I don't know if it's ever going to have some kind of relation with the rest of the interoperable, but I'm still going to play it. Because the thing is, everybody wants it, but something I keep coming across, there's never enough time to play all the games you want to. You will go down an alley, and that will be your main focus for a lot of your time.
That
I think
being
poor man's
said,
drunk.
yeah,
Sorry.
probably. That being said, it does split. It splits it differently though. In Illuvitar's card game, Hearthstone. How do I put this? I hate mobile gaming. Have for a very long time. Okay, but it's more that I hate. I think what it is I hate certain genres. When they ported Hearthstone to mobile, it worked exceptionally well. I actually really, really liked it. Clash of Clans also is awesome on mobile. There's no one doubting or denying that. Clash Royale did a really good job. There's a genre. Card games is a big one, and
Yeah.
city builders is a big one for me. Those two I like on mobile. Now, I'm the exception. I know a lot of people that love playing shooters and stuff on mobile. I can't stand it. I want to play a shooter on the PC. I don't know why anyone, any human being, would choose to play that on the mobile over the PC. Besides, when you're out and about, mobile makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
But that being said, I like playing card games on mobile. So I think it will have a very different audience. You'll have all your people to play your Overworld and thing. And when those people are traveling around, they can play this card game on the mobile. Now, if Auto Battler PvP comes out on mobile, now you've got a huge focus split, like you just said. And you're in a bit of trouble where, yeah, Illuvitar's probably won't be the focus. But in the same sense, Illuvitar's will be something that you can do the entire process on mobile. Whereas with PvP, you need to go into your PC to capture them and then take them into mobile and then carry them around with you. So it's still your Overworld player, whereas Illuvitar's can be more your exclusive mobile player, similar to Illuvium Zero.
True. I'm still leaning towards PC. I mean, mobile's good, but I work from home. I pretty much live at home. I'm always right beside the computer. If this was pre-COVID or when it's not winter outside, I would have been heading to Starbucks to get a drink to come watch this stream. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. So let's keep moving on. We've still got a few things to cover, and I've got to go in like 20 minutes. Okay. So
All right.
really quickly, GovV2. There was a town hall about it, so I don't want to drum on about it too much. What are your thoughts? You excited that the IIP got approved? So anyone didn't know, the IIP got approved. It's GovV2 is happening. Timelines are a little iffy, but at the very minimum, it'll go into next epoch. That's what everyone absolutely wants. It's going to go into next epoch. The voting process for it might be a little bit manual because we don't want to take resources away from the game. No one in the community does. So the caveat to that is you guys might have a bit of a less intuitive process for voting. But obviously, I'll put up videos. I'll show you how to vote for Scoriox, and we'll go through all that for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, which council are you running for? If you don't mind me asking, like, are you leaning towards one?
I'm not 100% confirmed, but probably community. I definitely think. I don't think I would do a bad job in some of the other councils, but I definitely think in terms of how good a job I would do, the best job I would do is probably in community. So that's where I'm leaning for sure. That being said, I don't want to take away from too many of the other creators and things and other people that want to go for community. There's so many awesome candidates. So I'll be considering that as well. For example, I think Artemis would do an awesome job. I think Vedamore would obviously do a really good job. He has in the past. But there are a lot of other community members that I'm hoping to run for some of the other councils. Things like Joshith, I really want on the council. I would love to see you in the council as well. I think you would probably be going for community. I'm not sure.
But yeah, no, I'm considering going for the community. I'm being gently nudged.
So what I'm referring to is I would really like to see someone like Joshith and Scrubberdad and obviously Diraji and stuff returning. But at the same time, I feel like they would be really better suited to really great for some of those other councils. So I'm hoping it gets divided a little bit that way, especially to just get the best out of people. But I'll see kind of where we're at close to the date. And I think other people would probably do a better job than me at community. And I think there's a missing spot kind of somewhere else where I think I would do a really, really good job to help that out. then I will consider that as well. But there's a few factors to consider, but community is most likely. And tell us in the chat if there's anyone else that is going to be going for council this next epoch. It's a bit of ways out, but still.
I think I kind of agree with you on that sense that if someone's more suited for the role, I definitely kind of like, I think it's Annie who said it, and I think Daraji shared the sentiment on Artemis's stream, where if someone better comes along, they will definitely step aside to have that person take over, and they would encourage it. And I mean, everybody has their strengths, play within them, and I kind of see you in the community, but I could also see you kind of in two other ones. So
it's a tricky one for me in particular. I love doing so many things, but I want it to be the best thing possible. And I feel like I've seen enough people in the community that would do a better job at some of those other councils. So I'm definitely looking at that as well. But yeah, I mean, diversity is important for me. It always has been. And I felt like without blind voting, it got missed a lot, which was really unfortunate. But past that, I mean, you could see that the council switched up a lot after blind voting was implemented, which speaks volumes, in my opinion. What I'm trying to say is, if there's a lot of new people trying to get in, and I would be taking one of their spots in the community, I'd rather give them a shot first. I don't know if I'd step aside. Depends who it is and things. But I would definitely consider stepping aside, giving them a shot, but then not stepping aside the epoch after and being like, okay, it's my shot again. You know what I mean? Like, but I want to see lots of different people go through the council, because I think sharing lots of different ideas is important.
For sure.
So the next thing we should talk about is the new Overworld mechanics, the new movement mechanics, Overworld distortion mechanic. Again, video coming out soon, and the next Overworld beta potentially. So we'll talk about the beta in a second. Movement mechanics. What do we got? Grapple hook, which is going to come out for Shard Bluff.
Oh, it's Shard Bluff? Okay.
I don't know. It's going to come out later. So
yeah.
for the next districts, Abyssal and Brightland, we've got, gliding and sliding.
Yeah.
Alongside, is there anything else or just those two?
Just those two. Well, I mean, there's the bubbles. I forgot the name of the plan. There's the bubbles to get up higher, but everybody's going to jump off the top. So it's going to happen. And then I guess the lily pad is kind of one of the mechanics. I don't know.
I don't remember that. Explain it for those of you at home. Yeah, but I don't remember what the mechanic is.
I think you just jump on it and try to be patient as you just ride it down the river. I think that's my least enjoyable one, but we'll see.
So yeah, no, this looks really interesting. And the Overworld distortion mechanic. Do you want to explain that for those, like the one at 80% and stuff? Do you know what that one is?
No.
Okay,
Did I miss that?
You must have.
No.
I had someone actually mentioned it to me before Grant revealed it on stream. Not quite in that much detail, but yeah. Anyways, the idea is there's going to be two modes for Overworld. Now, the numbers I'm going to throw out are all current numbers, and they're obviously subject to change. Honestly, I would like them to change, but let's say we have two game modes, casual and competitive. Well, competitive is probably the wrong word. Casual and expert, I don't know. Two game modes. In casual mode, it'll be pretty much the same as you see now. Let's say your loot is going to be worth $1 when you take it out of it. In terms of if we had it to assign rarity directly to price, let's say it's worth $1. However, in this expert mode, you have a 20% higher chance. Well, I mean, again, numbers are all speculative. A 20% higher chance of getting better stuff, but it comes with one caveat. When you've used up 80% of your energy, the distortion will start closing in on the entire world. And then if you get caught in it, you get booted out early. All right. So you've got to try and plan, learn all the movement mechanics, figure out how to get all the best stuff, and do that as quickly as you possibly can in that last 20% of your energy to maximize the amount of loot you can take comparatively to casual.
Okay. Yeah, that one. Okay. So I remember that. It's my brain immediately went to the gas in Warzone closing in.
It's kind of like
So
that.
I didn't remember the names, so that's why I was a little confused on it. But yeah, that mechanic, it's gonna make it, it's gonna create it to be more competitive. It's not the best word, but a sense of urgency when you go in. So you really have to speed run, you have to have a game plan, and you have to move quick. So because that is one thing that Overworld's lacking now. Life in the Overworld, something can kill you, or just needing to go faster because it's so slow. Our
I,
tournament we had was like 2 hours a run.
I
So
honestly disagree. It's going to give you urgency. I think at 80%, it won't do shit. I don't see any difference. I don't know why. Grant's convinced it's going to have a difference. I trust his judgment. He knows what he's doing. Believe me. But I can't see it until I'm proven wrong. But I don't think it's going to give you any urgency. I think it should start distorting very slowly when you first jump in, or at about 50%, it starts distorting. I think that's actually going to make an impact. I don't think what it's currently at is going to do anything. But maybe there's a randomness element to it. Maybe it's more complex than that. Maybe you get to 80% and there's like 10 different distortions that start appearing on the map and they're all expanding. And now you've got to try and weave in and out of them. You've got to learn the movement mechanics. And maybe you had 2 or 3 different plot spots that you were going to get at the end and you already planned to get at the end, which is why I'm saying it won't have urgency. Because if you just plan to get them in, you stand there and then you do 80%, you're done.
True.
But let's say that they're in different places and then all these different places that distortions are popping up and it's like chaos. You're going to try and get around them. They're all expanding. You're going to be really, really fast now. I think that would be far more entertaining. And maybe maybe the tech will already be pre-built once they've done the one big one. Because if I'm trying to think from a game dev perspective, you're trying to generate all the effects for each different section of the map, and you're trying to generate the effects for each different material and stuff in the map and bag all that in. So really, it shouldn't make a huge difference if the distortion is moving outwards from a location rather than moving inwards from the general location. But I could be wrong. I think that would be awesome.
That would make it more interesting. Because, for instance, if one pops up in Soka's garden, if you didn't go there first, you can't go there anymore. Especially if it keeps growing and just engulfs that whole region. That would be wow. Okay. Yeah. Closing in, I know it's following the battle boards, but I kind of like the idea of expanding out, kind of making these clusters you have to avoid.
Yeah, and then you add those RNG elements in, and it becomes way more exciting. Way more exciting if it's not predictable. Because that's actually one of the things that's most exciting about battle royales. As you said, this is thinking of the gas in PUBG and things like that. That's the most exciting part of it, is the randomness.
Yeah.
Now, if you put that randomness on steroids, it gets even more interesting. But that's the most. Imagine if you did that in a battle royale where your closing circle mechanic isn't a closing circle mechanic, but rather like bombs are raining from the sky every 2 minutes, and they're always ever expanding from wherever they land, and you're getting radiation poisoning across the entire map. Now, the only problem is you've got to play it really smart in the calculations. In a battle royale, it makes more sense because you need to make sure all the players can meet each other. So you still need some pathways. So that's why the circle kind of has to be restricted. But you don't need that in the overworld because, well, if you get stuck in this little island because you got unlucky, then bad luck. You missed out on that last 20%.
Well, in Warzone, they made it so that you could make a cloud that expands out, kind of like an atom bomb that went off, and then now they split the circles so that it causes variations, which makes the gameplay more adaptive. We just need multiplayer and we need voice chat inside the overworld. That's what we really need. I mean, let's just be honest. Playing with your buds will be way better.
Yeah, if we did have that, I'd like to see them break down the barriers for slowing down the pace. A problem I see in games that have these sorts of mechanics, and I'll refer to Monster Hunter because that's what Illuvium is hopefully going to model in the future. When I refer to Monster Hunter, you get together with your band of merry mates and you all kind of go to the same gate, press play, then you all appear in the region and you do the thing. I don't like all the barriers in between them. I don't like that you have to get together with them. You can just then jump into a region as a team and stuff. I mean, I like those co-op elements, but I'd rather like, for example, when you've all finished your run, you can just jump back, refresh. You can just click a button, say, I'm ready for a new run. It resets you in the same spot instantly, or just gives just like a little particle effect. That way you never ever need to leave the region if you didn't want to. Now, obviously that might have its own disadvantages. Maybe you have finite storage in your backpack or something. I don't know. But I like the idea of not kind of doing all this back and forth sort of stuff. And if they can make that even really seamless, it'll be really interesting, because I think big time suffers from that problem as well. It's a very MMO thing, to be honest, like dungeon.
Yeah.
But I would like to see it less like a dungeon and more like one entire living, breathing world. Maybe you can all jump on this platform and it teleports you all at once directly into another region. You know what I mean? Like, I want it to feel fluid. That won't happen for open beta, I don't think, but I'd like in future to see it feel more fluid.
Well, even being able to have that teleport where you put down your beacon and come back to that beacon in the same instance, but it won't. It's not going to happen for a while. World of Warcraft, but Illuvium. Man, if that ever happens, an MMORPG of Illuvium, that's going to be my shit.
One day, poor man. And yes, obviously for the Horde. None of us are Alliance peasants. Okay, so the last thing we should probably talk about is PvP and kind of where we think that's at. Now, I have no idea, to be honest. I know that they're striving to get it out as soon as they can. My thought process has always been, maybe not April, but I'm hoping we have something in our hands in May. Why I say that is because I feel like the Illuvials were restricting that a bit. I know Illuvitar's back-end team was, so now that team's on PvP, which is awesome. I feel like the Illuvials were restricting them a tad. So PvP is hard to firstly balance, hard to figure out if the rules work without your entire deck. It's like if you had you were printing 100 cards and you had 50 of them, and then you're trying to create the rules for the game, but you're missing all the trainer cards, right? Then as soon as they come out, you're going to change the entire rules for the game because it's going to be broken as fuck. So I feel like that's been a bit of a restriction. But we have seen that some of the Illuvials are having their final passes on them.
Yeah.
In terms of not just in game, but NFTs and stuff. So I think the Illuvials are pretty close to finished in a general sense. So I know that they're probably testing with all of them in the game. I know they have placeholder tools they can use to put them in, but I think they're waiting on all the Illuvials to be pretty much ready, or at least most of them. And then we'll get something like that. And obviously your Illuvium Private Beta 3 or your survival mode and stuff as well. I would assume that's all in the same launcher. But I don't think PvP is far away, but if I would have to guess, I would say maybe May. But they keep that under wraps pretty tight. If you guys all vote hard on ideas chat and show sentiment that you want dates and things, they'll be forced to tell you. So I didn't say anything.
Read between the lines, guys. Let's all go raid the ideas chat right now. No, I'm kidding.
It is literally up to the community. If the community wants those dates, the community will get them. But yeah, it's one of those things. Obviously, we'll only give you what we can give you. We can't give you a date if we don't know. But yeah,
no matter when PvP comes out, I'm kind of excited to see who breaks it first. Somebody's going to come up with a strategy, and that's going to become the beta very quickly, and everybody's going to run it. And I'm wondering who's going to be the one to do that. And there has to be leaderboards. PvP is one thing, but then it leads to, will it be casual PvP? Will it be ranked? What's the leaderboard look like? How are they going to line up people's abilities? How are they going to rank those? And I don't think that's going to be in the first PvP iteration, because that's very difficult. And I suck at that kind of stuff. And I want to maybe win one every 15 or 20 matches. It would be fun, and not lose every single one.
I don't think it's too much of a big deal if it doesn't have the matchmaking sort of stuff in there. I'm more seeing it as a friendly thing. You just get with your mates. You're like, okay, look, let's battle tonight. It's like, yeah, let's do it. And we're just like, I mean, that'll be one of the reasons to join a guild like the Wildfire Guild, is you can come in, jump in voice chat. We'll probably have someone already playing PvP. You go, yeah, I'll battle you next. And you guys just play together in the PvP stuff and we'll all get together and just have fun with it. It'll be awesome. But you're right. Someone's going to break it. I'm going to suspect it's something. It's going to be earth related, I reckon. Just some heavy earth with like granite and shit. Just be fucking broken.
The immunity's gonna cause some stuff for sure.
It's all in the eye contact. This guy gets it. That would be really exciting, actually.
Jeez. But I'm hopeful that it's before June. I mean, at least the first iteration. I'm hopeful for end of April, but realistically, I think mid-May. That's just, they're not being as open with it. We're not seeing actual PvP gameplay, and there's going to be stuff that's leaked related to it in advance to it coming out. I don't think they'd shadow release it and not have any kind of leaks about it. But
I think if I were to put myself in their shoes, I think it is worth considering that PvP is inherently not all that exciting. Now, hear me out. PvP is really, really exciting. However, when you think about promoting PvP, showing leaks and showing stuff from inside it, it looks identical to survival mode. There's not really anything you leak that looks different. It's just the rules that are different. And obviously playing against another player. But those two things you can't really leak. You can give rules flow, but I think that's the big thing that they keep reiterating. They keep like iterating on. That's the one thing that they can't finalize, and that's why PvP hasn't been given to us. So they don't have that. And then the player versus player aspect you can't really leak, and then elsewhere you can't really leak. So there's not really anything to leak in terms of PvP. But I will say, I will caveat that with they updated the UI for just the battles in general, which is something they could leak. And guess what? They did leak it, the new UI for PvP, which is, I mean, doesn't look that much different to survival mode, but it's way more polished. But it's one of those things that's changing in a general sense, so they could leak it. And that's kind of where my head's at with that.
So I got a question for you. Which of the three brothers do you think is going to be best in PvP? Aaron, Kieran, or Grant?
Kieran's the big TFT player, but I reckon Aaron's the dark horse. Grant, I don't really think cares about PvP, but I could be wrong.
He's very competitive, and he'll put the hours in to get good at it.
That's a good point.
Just to humiliate them.
That's a good point.
I don't know.
I reckon Aaron, but Aaron won't spend that much time playing it. But I don't know. I hope it's one of those game genres or strategy games that is all about big brains. Now, I don't think Aaron necessarily has the biggest brain, but I definitely think he has a way of thinking about things so different to the other two. And I have a hunch that that's going to be the way of thinking that works really well in PvP. So maybe he would have a competitive edge there. But again, you're right. The other two will probably put in way more time than him. He does a lot behind the scenes, and he'll have a lot more stuff to be working on when PvP beta drops. You know what I mean?
I think Kieran's going to be the all-around over the long period that he's going to religiously play it, and he's going to become the best. I kind of want to watch him lose, and I just want to watch all three of them battle it out. I think they're so competitive. So
the last thing we'll touch on is SoCal had a question about leveling the PvP experience. Do you want to discuss kind of how the ranked mode works and how that's balanced?
In the sense, well, as you rank up, you're going to compete against people around your same rank, plus or minus.
So you only need a stage 1 alluvial, that sort of stuff.
Okay. Ooh, I don't know then. But
you don't. So basically, in the Illuvium overworld, you can capture lots of different alluvials. You've got your atlas, right?
But you only need the stage 1 to go in.
Yeah.
So and then you get the whole line.
Yeah. The other facet to it is the stats. So every atlas has slightly different stats. Some are better than others, depending on what you're looking for. Some might have better health regen. Some might have better defense. Who knows? they'll all have a variety of stats. In the ranked mode, in the ranked PvP mode, the stats are all balanced. The levels are all balanced. Everything is balanced. You're all good. The other thing is you only need a stage 1 to use a stage 3. So if you have an Atlas, you can play it as an Axodon in PvP. Now, what this means is you only need about 50 Illuvials to essentially create any single deck in the game. I like it to be a bit more complex than that. For example, maybe levels aren't balanced, so you need to level them all up. But you can still use an Atlas as an Axodon. But yeah, essentially you can get pretty much all the decks pretty fast, and then it's up to skill. Oh, and augments I think are going to be interesting too. They're going to be a little bit more complex because they're not easy to get. But yeah,
people are going to focus more on getting those because the augments will create that unique play. But I mean, in Pokemon, for instance, with having your everything at the same level, you think that the level should be different because that's going to skew things heavily if you play levels into it.
Well, not so much like that. In Pokemon, they always have a level cap, but they have a minimum. Or
yeah,
sometimes they did. They keep changing it. But basically, the idea was you can have a level 100 Pokemon, but it'll always get scaled to level 50 in the competition.
Yeah.
For better context, level 50, at least in the modern games, is very easy to achieve. It's very easy to grab a Pokemon, level it up to 50. It take you like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. But at least you have some level of barrier. I don't like the idea of zero barrier. Some level of barrier where you're trying to get it up to this minimum level so that you're on par with everyone else, which isn't difficult to do, but would require at least some effort. Otherwise, you could just buy all the Illuviums off the market no matter what level they are, and I don't love that. I like the idea of you being incentivized to go in and play the game without having to level anything up ever. You have no incentive to play the game, which feels bad to me.
But won't the stats? Oh no, that's Ascendant Arena, isn't it? Where the stats will play a bigger part in it.
That's
so
Leviathan.
You could have
Leviathan.
That was it. Okay, so I think that one's going to be more interesting to watch because you can have different, like your 6 levels, and having them maxed out in different ways will completely change the play style of certain Illuvials. I mean, having a rogue that's maxed out on attack and special just to deal damage and get someone off the board might be interesting. What was that? Kieran wants to be the
So Carl's killing it. All right. So awesome. We better start wrapping it up. I've got to get going like pretty much now. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for joining me, Ricky.
No problem.
Tell TSG he missed out.
I definitely would.
But no, thanks for joining me on Augment today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope everything made sense. Ricky, send me some pictures so I can change the thumbnail later. And yeah, anything else you wanted to say?
Well, I mean, you had the last bit there, the newest Illuvial, that chameleon man. That is, I'm excited. But the last one better stay on all 4s. I don't want it to be like an Axodon. It stay on all 4s. You hear that all the time with Pokemon. I want it to be like this crazy big chameleon of some kind, and he's hopefully will get some kind of camo ability on a higher stage. I think that'd be sick. So obviously untargetables. But they mentioned he'll take the same one as the other Illuvial, but is it only at the start of the battle board versus the end? I need to know more. I need to.
Yeah, he looks like a really unique design, but a really necessary one. One of my concerns has always been since the start of this project is you guys made so many fucking composite synergies. How are we going to complete them? There's 20 composite affinities and 20 composite classes. And there's about, if you consider that only half the Illuvials have a composite, that would leave you with 75 or so, since T0s don't have any. So 75 divided by 20 is about 3. So you get about 3 Illuvials per composite ever in the game. So they added bonding, which made a big difference. Now you got 4 by default. And now they're going to add this chameleon, which is going to give you 5 by default. So I'm really happy that they've considered that in the mechanics. That's all I'm going to say. that stressed me out a little bit. Obviously, when you get to like set 2 of Illuvials, because the synergy, the composites stay the same throughout all the sets. When you get set 2 of Illuvials, you've pretty much fixed it on the spot. But in set 1, the meta felt like a little bit wacky. But maybe that's a good thing.
It's going to be interesting gameplay, but I hope in like wave 5, 6, they introduce a new composite or a new class, something that mixes everything up. But that'll completely mess everything up, but it'd be interesting.
I think you got to keep it relatively simple for the most part.
Yeah.
Although,
there's still so much.
Yeah.
So
it'll be interesting. All right. Have a good one, guys. See you later.